Alright, so I'm going to try to make this video before my phone cuts out really quick. But today is March 5th, 2025. And today is exactly, oh, and I'm also going to do my hair. And today is exactly 1 year since I opened my business. My business is called Touch of Love Cleaning Service. And I service commercial and residential properties throughout the Kansas City area. Now, today I'm going to be talking about how I even got started doing this and like how God led me to this position. So, I love the story. So, last year, in the beginning of 2024, I was working at this restaurant that I have been working at for, I think, a year, almost 2 years by then. And things with my manager, like, just was not working out. Like, it was just a lot going on, yada, yada, yada. So I ended up quitting. Like, I was just like, there's nothing for me here anymore. Like, I felt like God was leading me to quit. And it was just stuff that kept happening. So I quit. Then I was out on my ass for like a good month. I quit like the end of January, beginning of February. So I'm like, okay, now I don't know what to do next, because I'm like, I didn't have like no plans in the process of that. Like, I didn't, think too deep into it before I just did it. I just quit. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? I wanted to start a cooking business first, because I cook very well and I love to cook. I want to open my own restaurant one day. That's like on my bucket list. It's my goal. But I had to look back and I'm like, well, that takes a lot of capital, and I don't have that. Don't have that right now. So I was like, okay, well, what can you do like in the meantime? And I had posted on my Instagram, like if I started a food business, like, who would support it. And a lot of people said they would support it. So I'm like, okay, cool. But that goes back to me saying like I didn't have like capital for it. And so this guy that I'm cool with, he has sent me like a whole bunch of grants for like black women and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, because I was like, God, I just need to sign. Like, if I start a business, like, what should I do? Like, I really just need to sign. So then that's when I had posted like my food stuff on Instagram, and then that's when he had sent me like these grants like the next day or two. So I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna fill it out. So I went to try to fill it out like for my food business, but all the questions were basically like for people who already had established businesses. Like, it was asking me like about how much I make like a year, something like that, like through my business, how long it's been open. And I'm like, I don't have none of these qualifications. Like, I don't even have like an established business at all. So that's when I came to the realization, and I was like, well, what can I actually do that I can do like right now that's quick? And my mom, she had came home one day. She was like, why don't you start a cleaning business? Like, you're really good at cleaning. And I was like, yeah, but no, like I don't do that. Like, I like cleaning for the people, I do. But I was like, that's just not where my heart's at right now. Like, that's not what I want to do. So I was like, I'll think about it. So I ended up thinking about it, and I also got baptized again last year. So I was just praying a lot, and like, all that stuff. I'm like, okay, God, like, is this what I'm supposed to do? Tell me what to do. So I ended up, because I was already thinking about that, like, kind of thinking about starting a cleaning business, but I'm like, I don't want to though. Like, that's just not where my heart's at. Like, I really want to start a cooking business. Like, that's really what I wanted to do. And so after my mom said that, I was like, all right, well, maybe this is the direction I'm supposed to be leading into. So I started thinking it over more, and I was like, all right, well, what can I name it? Because like I wanted to be a company that helps people, and I want to be able to like make it like affordable and stuff like that, and like the meaning behind it. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna call it Helping Hands Cleaning Service. This was the name. This was the name that I was going with in the beginning. So I'm like, all right, Helping Hands Cleaning Service, cool. And I was like, well, I'll start doing all the stuff for it later. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just an idea for now. I never said the name out loud. I never told nobody about it. I just told mom, I was like, I'm thinking about actually doing like the cleaning business part. Like, I think that could be cool for me. Never said the name out loud. Bro, I kid you not. I kid you the fuck not. The next day, or like maybe 2 days after that, I hear a knock. I'm laying on the couch and I hear a knock on the door. And I'm like, okay, that's random. Like, I thought it was like the apartment people, like coming and, putting the little signs on the door or whatever. So I'm like, all right, whatever, nothing of it. I ended up getting up to leave that day, I think. And when I go outside, Literally on the door is a flyer, a written, like handwritten flyer for Helping Hands Cleaning. Bro, I wish I still had the paper. Like, I swear to God on everything I love. And if you know me, I do not swear to God. Like, that's not something I like to do. But I swear to God, it was literally Helping Hands Cleaning. It was written out, and it was like a lot of services I wanted to offer. So I was like, they just stole my name. So I was like, well, now I gotta find something else. Like, I gotta figure out what else I can do. And I was like, well, I still want the business to be broad where I help people. Like, I still want that to be like my main theme. And I was like, well, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? I was like, I just want to add a touch of love back into people's lives. So I was like, that sounds like a good name. Like, touch of love would be real cool. So I'm like, all right, that's what I'm gonna go with. So that kicked me into gear because I'm like, okay, God, like, you're telling me I'm procrastinating at this point because I just had this idea and I was like, okay, I'll just do stuff for it tomorrow, you know, and then that ended up happening. So I'm like, okay, so you want me to get a move on? Like, that's what you're telling me. So I'm like, all right. So by this time I was flat broke, like, because I had quit my job, so I didn't have no money. And I was like kind of working with this cleaning lady who used to work for the restaurant that I worked at. Like, she would clean in the mornings and like in nights and stuff like that. And so I was like, well, I'll help her out. I had started trying to work with her before I even quit my job. So I'm like, okay, well, that would be extra money for me since they've been cutting my shifts. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm already here, she's already here, so like whenever I have to like come in for a shift or like leave a shift, I can just work extra hours at night for her. So we had already had that in the works right before I quit my job. So I was like working for her in a little background, and she was kind of unprofessional, not gonna lie, like not knocking nobody hustle, but she was a little unprofessional. And so we ended up not really clicking like that. And I'm just like, okay. So I'm like, God, I'm broke, like I don't have no money. I had just bought my car, just bought my truck, like just spent $4,000. So I worked all holiday season at the restaurant, like all holiday season, and just made enough to get my truck. And then right after I got my truck, I ended up quitting my job. So I was like, ugh, like it was just all at once. Everything's all at once. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? How am I gonna get this money? Like, if you want me to get this money, let's make this work. So the lady I ended up cleaning for, or helping clean, she texted me and she was like, you do hair, don't you? And I was like, yeah, because I can. I just don't like doing people's hair. Like, I like to do my own, and that's about it. But I was like, yeah, you know, I can do your hair. She was like, okay, well, can you do my braids, blah, blah, because I'm about to go out of town. Like, I'm about to do on this cruise. I'm like, yeah, I'll do your hair. And I was like, all right, God, here's my money right here to start the business, because LLC in Missouri is only $50. So I was like, okay, I got enough now I can get my LLC. So I did her hair. I'm going to charge like $100 because, like I said, I don't really like doing other people's hair. So I don't really charge like a lot because it's not my thing. Like, and if it come out messed up or you don't like it, I'm not professional and I don't like doing it. So hey, it's cheap. You get what you pay for. So I was like, all right, bet. So I ended up doing her hair, got my $100, and I had planned on getting my LLC that Monday. And me and my mom, we ended up getting into an argument that same day because she was asking me like help her pay something, and I'm like, okay, I can help you do that. Like, I can do that later this week, but right now I literally need this money to get this LLC. Like, that's why I ended up making the money. And she was like, I'll give you back the money on Thursday, and you know what I'm saying, like, you could just spend this money now, blah blah blah. And I'm like, I was adamant. I was like, no, like, I have to spend this money on this. Like, this is literally what God's telling me to do. So we got into like a whole big argument about that, like, and everything, and it was just bad. So I was like, man, listen, I am not budging. Like, you know, I think I had like a little bit of money stashed away. I was like, I can help you when I like actually have it to give to you, but right now this money has to go to this. Like, it has to go to that. If I miss the opportunity, I'm not sure it's gonna come back again. So she was like, all right, whatever, blah blah blah. So I ended up purchasing my LLC that Monday. By that Thursday, it came back. The day she was saying that she would give me my money back, it ended up coming back. And she didn't have the money to give me if I would have just gave her the money. Like, she was like, wow, it's crazy because you end up getting it on this day and I didn't even have it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, God work in mysterious ways, don't you? So after that happened, I had just started like, I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to do stuff. So I was like, I'm gonna gain clientele. My brother over here creeping in. How am I gonna like was my first business, like order of business, like clientele wise. So I was like, okay, well, I don't have no clients, so I need to find stuff to clean. So I would just start cleaning up like small stuff around the house, and like anything I could find that looked like it was dirty, I would clean it. So that's how I started building up my portfolio on my social medias, because I'm like, well, I have free access to stuff right here that needs to be cleaned. Might as well clean it. So like I cleaned the refrigerator here. I like organized the cabinet, the little cabinet, whatever. Like I did all that stuff. And so that's where everything started from. And then like made my prices. Now when it came to my prices, everybody kept telling me that I was lowballing with my prices. But I'm like, I talked to God specifically about what I should price people and how I should price my services. Because I want it to be affordable, and I want it to be for people like who actually need the help. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to charge an arm and a leg. And everybody was like, no, you need to raise your prices. You need to do more. You need to do more. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I think is right and what God's telling me is right. So that's what I did. And I did have to rework my original pricing list though, because I had to make it like hourly basically. Like, I guess it didn't make a lot of sense at first. So I was like, okay, well, I got to make it a little more sensible. That's fine. So I did that, and then I posted all the stuff. No, I was still getting all this together. This is like February, like the end of February. And so I'm like, okay, I'm getting all this stuff together so I can get it ready. And I remember I prayed about it, and I like drew my logo out. I drew my logo out, and I cannot draw. Like I can if I put my mind to it, but for the most part, cannot do it. Like just off the rip, can't do it. So I was like, all right. I drew the logo, and then I wrote down the scripture, and I put it in my prayer box. And I was like, okay, God, like I'm gonna let you work. I'm gonna see what you got in store for me, and we're gonna go from there. So I started my business like that, and it was March 5th. I found some random logo off Google that was like cute. It was like a little cupid watering like the grass, but the grass was like hearts. It's still on my business page or whatever. Like it's one of the first. It's my first logo, so it's still up there. And I was like, okay, this will do for now until I find somebody who could make me a logo, because like I said, I was broke. Like had no money, nothing. I was super duper broke when I started this business. So I'm like, okay, this will work for now until I can find somebody who actually make me the logo. So I posted all my stuff on social media on March 5th. And then from there, like people started helping me share it. Like a lot of people like I was cool with would help me, promote my business, stuff like that. My ex's aunt, one of her best friends, was like, oh, I just started a logo creation company, you know what I'm saying? And I'll make your logo for you for free if you just share my business. So I'm like, that's perfect. Yeah, I'll show your shit. Like, hook me up. So she made my logo for me. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. Like, this is exactly literally how I drew it. Like, exactly how I wanted it. So I was like, okay, God, you took care of that too. Like, appreciate it. Thank you. And then, my first client was one of my homegirls. And she hit me up to help her, like, remodel her basement or, like, clean her basement. So I'm like, okay, I can do that. But I had court that day that she had asked me to come by, so I wasn't able to like get there until like later in the night. But that was fine. She was fine. It was all good. But when I went, I literally only had a cheerleading bag full of cleaning supplies. Like that was how I started out. I had a bag full of cleaning supplies. Like that shit could have exploded, it could have merged all together, blew me the fuck up, all that. But I was determined to, start somewhere, so that's what I did. So we did her stuff, and that was like my first ever client. And then I ended up getting another client who just so happened to see my Facebook or whatever. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to take a chance on you. You seem like you, like, got this down pat pretty much. So I was like, thank you. And me and her, she's a really good client. Like, we actually, like, formed, like, a small friendship. I form a lot of friendships with all of my clients for the most part, because I think that's what you have to do in this business. Like, you're there to help them with their lives and instill another touch of love back into their life. Like, that's literally the whole point of the business. So why not? So, yeah, I end up getting hurt, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't keep carrying around this backpack full of cleaning supplies. Like, first of all, it's unprofessional, and second of all, it's a cheerleading backpack. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a bunch of bullshit in it. So I'm like, I gotta go, like, be more professional. So I went to, I think, like, it's not Home Depot. I went to Lowe's, and I got, like, a cleaning caddy, the little plastic ones. And so I put all my cleaning supplies in there, and that was good. And then I had, like, just a mop bucket, and I would carry my mop bucket, because my grandma, she helped me buy a lot of the supplies in the beginning for my business. So like she helped me buy like a lot of my cleaning supplies, took me to like the good places to where I can get like the stuff in bulk and all that. Cause you know grandmas love cleaning. And helped me like find the stuff, and she bought me a new mop bucket. So I'm like, okay, cool, that'll work. So I carried around this little plastic cleaning caddy and a mop bucket for months, like months, until I was like, okay, this I need something easier. Like, cause if you seen me, like I was lugging around so much stuff, like it was crazy. So I'm like, I can't keep doing that. Like, I gotta do something different. So that's when I ordered the little cleaning supplies bag that I have now, and it's like a carryable one. So I was like, okay, that's perfect. Like I'm gonna start using this. Everything was going really well until June, July-ish, and my truck broke down. So I'm like, okay, how the hell am I supposed to get back and forth to my clients? Like, how am I supposed to do my business? And my truck literally just broke down, and I had just bought it, so it made me really sad because I'm like, bro, I just bought this truck, like, and I hadn't put tags on it yet. Like, I still was like within my, like months. So I was like gearing up to buy tags, and then it broke down. And it broke down on my way to church. So I was really pissed about that because I'm like, I was about to pick up my little brother so we can go to church. And like my mom was having like a bad morning that morning, and I like talked her back, into like the fold or whatever. And I'm like, it's just some spiritual warfare you've been going through, you got going on. Like, I was having a great morning. I go to leave and pull out the little parking lot of the apartment complex, and my truck broke down literally at the exit. Like on the little hill that you gotta get out the apartment complex. I was so mad. But I still made it to church. And by the time I got home, because I was praying while the church, I was like, please just let my car be able to get moved into like a parking spot. My mom had called the tow truck, moved my car into the parking spot. So I was like, all right, that's perfect. Like, don't have to worry about that. Everything's cool. Picked my little brother up. We went to church. It was good. It was golden. So I'm like, okay, now I don't have no transportation. So I'm like, how am I supposed to, and then I'm still having clients like all the time. Like people are, picking up, my business picking up more and more. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to find an alternative. So what I would do was for like my car broke down in like July, June, and I didn't get it fixed until right after my birthday in October. Or like beginning of November, one of those. So I'm like, okay, so for the next like 5-6 months, I was just trading cars with my mom. Like I would take her to work and use her car, and I'll go to my client. So like I was still getting to the money, like still getting to the clients, to the people, you know what I'm saying, still taking care of business. But for a minute there, all I could focus on was the money. Like it would just be like that. Like I would just be like, okay, I'm just going to make this money. Like I'm not even really trying to like interact with my people like that. Like I'm not trying to do none of that. I just need to get this money so I can get my car fixed. Man, when I tell you God stopped that in my tracks, stopped it dead in the tracks, like I didn't get like a client for like a month because of that mindset. Like, cause he's like, I gave you this business to help people. Like, you're not supposed to just be focused on the money. The money is not everything. So I'm like, that's super duper true. Like, I did start this business to help people. Like, it shouldn't just be focused on the money. So I didn't get a client for like a good month. And it came from like me having like consistent clients like in the beginning. So I was like, okay, I gotta reset my focus. And so I'm like, well, what can I do right now to help balance it out? Because I don't want to just be going to clean people's houses just for the money. And my little brother, he was telling me, he's like, well, you're going to have to get another job. Like, I know you don't want to get another job, especially because you got your own business and everything, but you're going to have to do it. And my little brother, 9 times out of 10, he be right. So I didn't really feel like hearing that, but I needed to hear that. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do that. So I ended up getting this night job so that way I can still keep my clients during the daytime. And I still work there currently. Like, I still have my night job because it helps me with the balance. Like, I get to keep my personal money, and now my business money goes back into my business. I'll get to that later. But so I was like, okay, I'll just get the second job or whatever. As soon as I got the second job and I stopped worrying about like the income that was coming in, I was able to focus more on my clients again and building those relationships and those rapport with the people that I like clean for. So I was like, okay, that's good for me. That's when I started getting like my reoccurring clients, or like the people, who wanted me to clean for them on like a monthly basis type of thing. And so that was really nice. I was like, okay, God, like, you telling me that, because I used to have this quote on my phone, and it was like, money is not a reflection of your self-worth. And for so long, because I made such good money being a server, and like in my last relationship, money was like a really big deal, I was like always focused on money, like money motivated. But God was teaching me this time around, like, it's not just about the money, you know what I'm saying? Because especially being a business owner, it's up and down all the time. Like, your money gonna fluctuate. You're not gonna have it like that every single time, you know. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And then like even when it came to like support, like it showed me that there's people who will support you that don't even know you, and people who will support you that do know you. But a lot of times support can come from people that's closest to you, but a lot of times they won't at the same time, because it was just crazy. Like it's a lot of people I thought would support me that haven't supported me, and just a lot of stuff. So I'm like, all right, you know, I learned that lesson. Like it definitely hurt my feelings a little bit, but I'm like, you know, I gotta keep it pushing because I got stuff to do. So I ended up doing all that. Go ahead. I was wondering what you was just doing over there. I'm like, you've been sitting in the kitchen for a good minute, bro. You good. But I ended up doing that and getting a second job. So then I would just do my clients during the day and then go to my second job at nighttime. And everything was good and it was golden. And I still was making it to my clients.